Seek out the best. 2 words to describe the activity.
The Yoruba Unity Forum is conducted.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west and around Africa.
Presidential
we break the news.
Women in Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV Primetime
Our
News.
24-hour news station.
Beautiful Thursday morning here in Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on Core Digest, where we bring you in-depth review and analysis of top stories making headline in this country. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. I hope that you had a lovely night rest. It's another brand new day. Try to check what today's date really is. Amazingly, it's the 29th day of January. I mean, when exactly was it when we had a brand new year celebration, when all the lights were sparkling, the Christmas lights were still on and all of that? But it looks as if 2015 isn't waiting for anyone. Before you say Jack Robinson, it's February elections, and then we'll keep basking in the euphoria of that. Before you know it, the year is all over. So you want to wake up this morning pursuing your dreams with all the energy you can muster. There's no other room left for procrastination, if indeed you would want to be a winner. Now let's kickstart with some developing story. You recall that few days after the abduction of over 200 Chibok girls in Borno State, Amnesty International came up with the side of the story that the Nigerian military actually was aware of this abduction before it took place. There was another allegation as regards a possible reduction in the number of casualties in Baga. We also reported that. But the latest development from the Amnesty International right now is that it's claiming that Nigeria's military top brass were warned of brutal Boko Haram attacks on the northeast towns of Baga and Monguno, but failed to take action. The January 3 onslaught against Baga is feared to have killed hundreds, if not more, and destroyed thousands of homes. As a matter of fact, international media claims that it was close to about 2,000 casualties that were suffered, unlike what the Nigerian military says, that it's just a bit around 200 casualties, including a tangible number of these miscreants you're seeing on your screen right now. But Amnesty is saying that it received information from senior military officers and other sources indicating that defense officials were told about Boko Haram's plans to attack both towns, but did not act on requests to send reinforcements. Of course, it's also adding that troops in the town in the extreme north of Borno State reported a buildup of insurgent fighters in the area before the attack.
So we have clear evidence that the highest levels of the Nigerian military knew about the attack on Baga up to 2 months in advance and did not take adequate measures to protect civilians. We've seen Boko Haram really go from strength to strength in the last year. In 2014 alone, they killed more than 4,000 civilians, and we believe they've taken control of over 20 major towns in the region. So more needs to be done to protect civilians, whether that's by changes to the way the military operates, or by ensuring that their safe passage out of areas that are threatened by Boko Haram. The government must be doing more. We believe that there are challenges in capacity of the Nigerian military which they are trying to address. The military has been seeking international cooperation to strengthen their army through training, through intelligence sharing. So some measures are being taken, but the pattern that's emerged is that immediate steps aren't being taken to protect civilians.
You know, there's been an amazing criticism of how the Western world covers the African continent. Well, I also can prove a little of it because we had a call from Adedayo from Dallas, Texas, I believe sometimes earlier this week, who says that the way the Western world reports the Boko Haram attack in Nigeria makes it sound as if the whole country is at war. And I jokingly told him that, well, each time you see me on your screen with this fine tie and an handsome face, then you can always disprove that fact. Well, who do we believe? Whose report should we believe? Amnesty International or the Nigerian military? I think for now, I'll pitch my tent with the Nigerian military and believe that they actually know what they are doing and that they would never repeat a mistake twice, if indeed Amnesty International was true, that they had a prior knowledge of what happened in Chibok, then it's no way genuine and concerned Nigerian military would have allowed it to happen again. Now let's move away from there to Lagos. The controversial Commissioner of Police is here in Lagos. We reported that before now. There are also stories that you have to be careful of the way you talk about him. There are alleged reports that there were journalists who called him controversial and found themselves behind jail. But the newly posted Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 2 Command, Joseph Umbu, has warned troublemakers to stay clear of his way. Umbu, while taking over from the departing AIG in charge of the zone, Abubakar Manko, says that he will review the number of people moving around with the zone with security men with a view to ensuring that only those who have the right to security around them get same.
You must be disciplined, you must be ready to do your job, and there must be no lawlessness. We must be organized. If you are a civilian, obey the law. If you don't obey the law, whatever your status will bring you down and will take you to court. And then the misuse of my policeman, I will say no. If you're not entitled to a policeman, if you have, I will draw. And if you insult my policeman, I will not take it lightly with you. I will prosecute you.
Really, to be sincere, look beyond the controversies shrouding this man. But I think he's actually making sense because we saw a clip in Bauchi where irate youths went gaga and we could not even see a single uniformed policeman. Probably they are all with some big pot-bellied politicians. There really has to be a reduction in the number of policemen our politicians carry around so there will be enough protection for the Nigerian civilians. Obviously, one thing that he didn't mention is the hate speech going around. And the National Peace Committee, headed by former head of state Abdulsalam Abubakar, is concerned about this trend of political violence instigated statements and speeches, so to speak, in spite of the Abuja Accord on Non-Violence. And this time around, the committee has set up, in the aftermath of the accord, what they call a meeting to ensure that these do not become a trend as we count down to the February 14 presidential election. Catholic Bishop of Sokoto, Martha Kuka, was also there and disclosed this at a news conference that was held in Abuja.
Is one of the 16 members of the committee.
We pledge to refrain from campaigns that will involve religious, ethnic, and tribal profiling, both by ourselves and by all agents acting in our names. To refrain from making or causing to make in our names and that of our party any public statements, pronouncements, declarations, or speeches that have the capacity to incite any form of violence before, during, and after the elections.
The committee members are
I suppose, 14th January, and this committee has arisen out of that. This committee could not have been set up, this particular committee. However, that is not to say that attempts at talking and influencing political activities by political stakeholders had not been going on before even the peace accord.
The Inter-Party Advisory Council also reiterated its commitment to ensuring a violence-free polls. It reaffirmed its readiness to take legal action against any party found to have caused their
Much accolades greeted the Abuja Peace Accord, but the aftermath in the name of hate speeches isn't going down well with many Nigerians who are of the opinion that these statements by certain political stakeholders or politicians, so to speak, may have the potential to instigate violence in some parts of the country. Well, we saw a peace accord where all the presidential candidates in Nigeria came together, signed a document, and voted for peace. We even saw Mr. President and General Muhammadu Buhari in arms. They actually hugged each other. We also saw the APC and the PDP chairman doing the same. Well, it looks as if the same thing is being duplicated in Lagos, what many would say a right step in the right direction. The Lagos governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Jimmy Agbaje, and of course Akinwumi Ambody of the APC, as well as some other candidates in Lagos, have also pledged to ensure that the forthcoming general elections will be peaceful in the state. They spoke in Lagos after signing the peace accord by all political parties at the state police headquarters.
Assure you that we're going to give you 100% security without bringing you on board. That is just, to me, far from being the ideal thing. And knowing fully well that Lagos is the business epicenter of this country, we've got to do everything together and ensure that we have an election that is devoid of violence, election that is devoid of intimidation, election that will be generally acceptable.
In color-coded. In elections that we've had since 2011, in governorship elections, in Kogi, in Bayelsa, in Cross River, in Kebbi, in Adamawa, in Ondo, in Ekiti, as well as in Osun, the ballot papers are color-coded. There will be a specific color for a particular local government in the state.
Speaking after signing the peace document, Agbaje and Ambody say they are optimistic that the elections will be violence-free.
I've been an advocate of violence-free elections. When you want to serve the people, you don't need to be violent about it, if it's service to the benefit of the people. So for me, it's something that I wholeheartedly support, and no reservations whatsoever.
We want it to be peaceful. We've tried all our best to make sure that our campaign has been violence-free, and that's why, you know, we are supporting this agreement today, that no violence should ever occur in Lagos. And whoever has been doing that, or whatever party has been doing that, at least with this agreement now, it behoves on all of us that we must keep the peace.
President and the APC presidential candidates signed a similar accord. Afterwards, we heard of explosion in Rivers, said APC Secretariat, with their alleged stoning of the president's campaign team. We literally saw irate youths in Bauchi destroy PDP campaign materials. We are hopeful that Lagos will not follow suit, that indeed this agreement will translate into peaceful reality for everyone in Lagos. And I think that young ones who are engaging in these violent attacks and actions should take a clue from all smiling faces we see now from our politicians across party borders, are hugging each other, smiling at each other. I really wonder what's going on beneath all the smile. But let's cash on that and fly on that. Although this peace accord did not deter the Lagos State Governor from accusing the PDP governorship candidate of Lagos, Jimmy Agbaje, of evading tax. Of course, he says that Jimmy Agbaje has been evading tax through his company, JK Pharmacy. And Babatunde Fashola stated this at the 8th Lagos State Taxation Forum that was yesterday.
2010, 2011, and 2012. They paid in 2013 and in 2014. I think as the election was coming close, they tried to. They are owing our state 1,629,064 naira 62 kobo. Land use charge, ground rent. Local government collects from it. Local government has responsibility for primary education. Yes, it is holding their taxes. Is this person a good citizen? This is the man who wants to be your next governor.
The event witnessed presentation of
the offense of not paying tax only come to the media few weeks to election. If it has been a practice, maybe you and I would have been a better citizen and would have brought much more revenue for our darling country, Nigeria. Unlike in developed climes, evading tax, where evading tax is really a big deal, you could be jailed for it. Well, we're also hoping that this will move beyond just electoral campaigns to becoming a lifestyle, a rule of law, a working rule of law for us in Nigeria, where citizens will do what they are supposed to do. Well, also recently, the former CBN governor, Charles Soludo, came up with an interesting article talking about his thoughts as regards the Buhari-Jonathan electioneering ahead 2015, and this particular thought of his has indeed been heating up or raising dust. I do not want to say heating up polity, but indeed it's been raising a lot of speculations and no doubt quite a number of reactions to his thoughts along this side. Well, the federal government has described the position of the former central bank governor Charles Soludo as an intellectual harakiri. I don't know what that means. You might have to check it up in your dictionary. It also says that his 5-year tenure as the governor of CBN was a disaster for the banking sector. And this is where politics get interesting. 1 minute you are on their side, 1 minute you are on one side, the other minute you are outside that side. Then it's amazing how friends could immediately become enemies. You also recall the former Minister of Information, Labaran Marco, in Nasarawa State. This man used to be paddy with Mr. President. The moment he fell out during the PDP primary elections at the gubernatorial level, he left the PDP to AFGA. And it's amazing the kind of statements that now ensue between both parties who used to be really, really close. Well, they say there are no permanent friends, no permanent enemies in politics. Well, Minister of Finance this time is saying that Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is saying also that the article was filled with abusive language, and the minister also accused Soludo of misquoting economic facts and turning statistics on their head to justify a harshed job. All right, that's exactly what the reaction is as of this morning from the federal government. Now let's go to Plateau State, where we also witnessed another interesting electioneering campaign. Amazingly now, the governorship candidate of the PDP in that climb is saying categorically that he will not repeat the mistakes of his predecessors, especially that of incumbent Governor Jonah Jang. Gwang Pwajok made this known in Pangshin when his campaign trail visited the area and is calling on the people to ignore prophets of doom who have predicted unfavorable outcome for the 2015 elections.
2015 will be a very dangerous year for Nigeria. But as you can see from our faces here, we come from diverse backgrounds. We are united in one purpose, that we want to conduct an election that will usher in a new era, a new Plateau State, a Plateau that is determined to bring brothers together regardless of any differences, and that will work for the progress of our land and will ensure that this country remains united rather than break down. Every father is for the children to grow up to be better than them. And today, we are praying that as we move into greater together, as we get ready in this 2015, we will be able to put up a government that will be greater and greater and greater. And that those who will come behind us will also do better than us. As we do better than our parents, they should also do better than us. And that is the idea behind a generational shift. And that is why we believe that while the old men dream dreams, the young men should see vision and walk in that direction.
Politicians can talk. Let's hope that they'll be able to match their words with action even after the February elections. We'll take a short break now on Core Digest, and we'll be back with top stories making headline on some of Nigerian newspapers. Don't forget that you can also stream us live. If you're having challenges reaching us on the internet, all you need to do is download YOUTHS TV apps on via your Google App Store or whatever device you use. It's WAWOOTV. Download that application, register, and you'll be able to access Core TV News. It's somewhere at the news category. There are only Al Jazeera and Core TV News there presently. All you need to do is click on Core TV and you will see my beautiful smile right on your mobile device or whatsoever device you browse with. We'll take a break now and we'll be back shortly. Don't go away.
This morning, Nigerians encourage corruption, says June 1st of the Punch newspaper. And Nigerian Governors Forum calls for Okonjo Iweala's resignation. Page 2 of the Punch newspaper.
The dailies every day on Core TV News.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
I see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria. Only on Core TV News.
Glad to have you join another edition of The Political Arena, the most detailed and incisive political show.
You will see all sorts of politicians, even those who cannot manage their homes. We tell you to let them manage your lives. Look well. Shine your eyes.
So stomach infrastructure is a way of life. Even if I cannot do anything, and I continue to help your stomach so that your life will keep on going. So my style is without apology. Stomach infrastructure is a way of life for me.
I should ask you, what is going right in this country? Is it education? Is it security? Infrastructure? Is it healthcare? What is going right? Absolutely nothing.
We mean to win Lagos. PDP is going to win Lagos in 2015. And that means that everybody must be on board.
INEC has colluded with the presidency, the opposing party, to rig this election from the data to the end.
The successful conduct of free, fair and peaceful elections in Ekiti is a good omen for the subsequent elections to come, and the 2015 general elections must be the best.
The good, bad, ugly and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on Core TV News.
Does it not amaze you really that January is 29 days old, and guess what? The year is running so fast. So that's why I'm quickly going to intimate you with top stories making headline on some of Nigerian newspapers. I just have three of them here: the Vanguard, the Nation, as well as the Punch newspaper. Let's start with the Vanguard this morning, in case you're yet to see it. All right. This one says, arrest Tompolo, Dokubo, others now, says Danjuma. Okay, this is the second time Danjuma will be making an important statement in recent times. The other time he talked about postponing the 2015 elections. A guest of mine yesterday said that he has retracted that statement. But this one, the writers here says, call for war by ex-militants irresponsible, accuses politicians of deviating from issue-based campaigns. Oh my, where was this? This is a sea of heads, people. PDP presidential campaign. The crowd of the PDP presidential campaign rally in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. yesterday. Now, where these political parties get the crowd from, I really don't know. You see APC in Rivers, it looks as if that's the end of it. But then, this is another amazing sight, just like what we saw in Kano. Kano was a standstill for the general also. Someone says you can't judge, you cannot predict election results by the pictures of crowd. 68.8 million PVCs ready, says INEC. I think what we're interested right now is how many of them have gotten to the people, how many have been distributed. That's on page 6, if you care to check. The ugly side of Buhari and Jonathan at Tedo Peter side, that's on page 41. And 40 killed as Boko Haram invades Adamawa villages. That's on page 9 of the Vanguard. All right, another section of the Vanguard. We always show you that every morning. Mr. This is my favorite. Welcome back, dear. I virtually lived on sandwich while you were away. And then the wife says, sandwich? Which? Prepared it. All right, let's find out top sports stories at the back page of the Vanguard this morning. AFCON 2015, Ivory Coast sent Cameroon home. I saw that match yesterday, the first African Cup of Nations match I will be seeing. Of course, Nigeria isn't featuring, so why watch it anyway? As Mali, Guinea, no fate today. Dream Team avenged Tunisia defeat, and Mario backs Figo to replace Blatter. You know, jokingly, we said that if you check Blatter's history, he might have an African ancestor, because it's only typical of Africans to always want to stay hold to power forever. That's just a joke anyway, and there isn't anything racist about it. Let's move away from there to the Nation newspaper. This one says the big story here: Danjuma, arrest Tompolo, Asari Dokubo, others now. The rider, ex-defense minister, condemns reckless statements. Many have said this is the country where anything goes. You can wake up in the morning like Governor Fayose and publish anything on the front page of the Punch newspaper and stand by your position and nothing happens. Well, Danjuma thinks otherwise, and let's see how all of these work out. The front page picture also shows policemen during a demonstration of the readiness to combat riots ahead of the general elections in Abuja yesterday. This is exactly something I thought we would have seen in Bauchi when those young people were destroying PDP campaign materials. Police, this is the sight we see oftentimes in developed climes. When protests degenerates, into violence, there are security agents always around to curb the situation. For about 15 or 20 minutes that we saw in the video in Bauchi, none of these transpired. Amnesty, military argue over Baga Mongono. It continues on page 4 of the Nation, and INEC plans 119,973 polling units. That's on page 4 of the Nation. Ahmed Ajibola differ on projects in Kwara and PDP presidency behind post-shift plot, says APC. President in Port Harcourt, Amechi, has challenged me. And Fasonati's Afenifere under fire for endorsing Jonathan. All right, let's move away from there and find out what the top story is this morning on the front page of the Punch. War threat. Danjuma calls for Dokubo Tompolo's arrest. That's on page 2. A similar front page picture also featured on the Punch newspaper. Simulation of a riotous situation by policemen as part of their training ahead of the February elections in Abuja. Are you kidding me? It was actually a training, not really real. Okay, Agbaje, a tax defaulter, says Fashola. Gunman kills 7, injure 14 in Kaduna. And we have Amechi's criticism challenge, says Jonathan. Foreign lenders reduce credit to Nigerian banks. That's on page 36. Vigilante fires at Amoson's convoy. Details on page 11. Okonjo-Iweala, a Kwesili clash over Soludo. That's on page 33, if you care to check. Okay, that wraps it on dailies this morning. You can read up any of your choice, and don't forget that from 11 o'clock every tip of the hour, we'll keep you up to date with stories as they break in Nigeria. Shout out to our viewers from Benin City, especially to Pasani Agmontai, who actually, for me, is an hero. Send me a text now saying, I'm watching you right now, proud of you, keep it up. Thank you, Pa, for sending that all the way from Benin. All right, I'm joined this morning as we discuss issues ahead the 2015 February elections, especially the role that young Nigerians would play in deciding this February whether this election will be violent-free or not. I'm joined by a young public affairs analyst, Chidioze Eze, is a political affairs analyst as well as an IT consultant. Good morning, Chidioke. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Ifemi.
Let me say Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, Happy New Year. It's been a while.
Since you are an IT consultant, let's start from the social media aspect of this, the digital transformation that is telling the story now. Many have said that, of course, social media has a large followership. But the challenge is that, unlike broadcast media that has the MBC to check what goes on there, the social media, anything goes. Anybody can call, anybody can put any picture. What impact do you think this media would have on the violent nature of elections in Nigeria?
Well, so far it's been negative in my own estimation. The reason is, I spend a lot of my time also when I'm free, and then I read through, and I try to tell some of the people who I'm on their timelines to say, hey, no one is curbing what you're saying, but first you need to sieve what you put out there in the public, because you do not know how far it would go. 1. 2, endeavor to do some research before you go out and say whatever it is you want to say. Whether it is pro the current government or anti the current government, nobody can stifle you on social media. But before you go out there and say anything, be very sure that what you're saying is verifiable and it is correct. And at the very best, do whatever it is you can to not incite someone else.
I think that's to the gap that exists between citizen journalism and the traditional broadcast journalism.
Correct.
There is no time to confirm. They don't even want to care to confirm. It looks as if the worse the news is, the more catchy it is for
now
them.
I think it was yesterday. I didn't even know I was going to be here this morning. I have a good friend, a very close friend of mine, who is constantly picking holes in the current administration. And for me, I've never been against it. But the thing is, when you want to pick holes in an argument, you must have the right responses. You must be able to say, okay, let me give you an example. On the, it wasn't Fayoshe, one of the Ondo states, that he's going and mandating the civil servants to go out and vote for Jonathan to attend the rally, yet he hadn't paid salaries. All I asked him was, this thing you're saying, do you have one person who can corroborate it? If you do, let that one person say it to say you're telling the truth, because you haven't verified it. If you have, and this thing is widespread, all of Ondo State, if you say the governor hasn't paid, then at least one person should be able to corroborate this. And this is Facebook. There is internet in Ondo State. Now, whether it is true or not is inconsequential to the fact that he did not verify it, and no one has come to corroborate it. That's on one end. On the other end, he said something like, the primary responsibility of the government, as stipulated in the Constitution, is to protect life and property of the citizens. Yes. But in my opinion, as we were having the talk, I said, you cannot make protection of life and property primary to a central government. There are more important things, in my opinion. If, besides the Boko Haram issue, what exactly would the government then be protecting? Life, property. There's feeding, there's shelter, there's education, there's healthcare. If people are alive and you don't have these things.
He didn't quote it well. That constitution says is the security and the welfare of the people.
Thank you.
So
very
that,
much.
of course, capsulates.
Now, the security and the welfare. Security is maybe that's a better way to put it, because maybe that was his own coinage. But anyway, I took him up on it and I said, if you were a lawyer or if you were a citizen of any country and you had to put together the constitution, would you say that the protection of lives and property should be the primary responsibility of a central government or the police. Because the police, that's their primary job. And that's where, in the absence of the police, where you are in your confines, your own space, it is your primary responsibility. So intruders don't have a case in court when you shoot them or harm them because they're trying to break into your home where you're the alpha and the omega. We had that discussion. But all I was trying to do essentially was to highlight the other side of the argument so that there's a neutral side to it. You don't come out and, you know, say something that is one side. Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but let's quickly move away from there and touch on someone says that every nation has the kind of leadership it deserves. Because
I don't agree.
The kind of situation we have now on social media is the fact that the Nigerian public is asking for issue-based campaign. But that's not what is reflecting on social media. Even the Nigerian populace is either they are showing a candidate's head and putting horns or coming up with very funny statistics. And, you know, it's all about personal attack on Facebook.
I would say
and
this.
Twitter.
I would say this. It's not just peculiar to Facebook. It's peculiar to the people who are campaigning. Just yesterday, the sitting governor of Lagos State, Fashola, accused Jimmy of being a tax defaulter.
Isn't that issue-based?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not issue-based.
If you evade tax in developed climes, you'll be jailed.
My question is very simple. In this country, when you evade tax, you go to jail. I run my own business. If you fail to file your tax returns, the first month your fine is 25,000 naira. Subsequent months you pay 5,000 naira. Now, when it goes beyond a certain threshold, they come and shut down your business. Even when your business is not profitable.
So how come you find it hard to categorize this as issue-based?
It's not issue-based because he's attacking Jimmy. What's wrong with getting LIRS?
Is it the same thing as attacking Buhari and asking about the credibility of his credentials?
No. The credibility of his credentials, that much, is not an issue. If he has, or he can provide it, if he can provide it, fine. If he can't provide it and you want to pursue it, go to the courts. Now, why all of these things are not issue-based is, you're attacking Buhari. If Buhari wasn't there, you would attack the next person. If it's issue-based, you come out and tell us, this is my plan for security. This is my plan for the economy in the wake of the falling oil prices. This is my plan for agriculture. This is my plan for the banking or the financial sector. This is my plan for education. This is my plan for the health services sector. That's issue.
But come to think
an
of it,
issue-based campaign.
If
rather.
someone wants to become a governor of a state and it was found out that for some time he hasn't been paying a tax, you don't think that in any way morally affects and justifies
naturally? No. I want to explain
his capacity to lead?
It is an issue, but it's a personal issue.
Okay.
If he were to go to jail for it, it's he, the individual, not the party, not the manifesto of the party, not the followers. That's why it's personal. So Fashola coming to accuse Agbaje publicly shows that Fashola himself is not doing his job, because the director at LIRS is supposed to institute an instant or an immediate investigation into the situation. Hey, my boss just said you've not been paying your taxes.
You mean he should have been jailed a long time ago?
Simple. It means Fashola himself has failed at his responsibilities. If he's coming here to garner public sentiment against a governorship aspirant, while you are the sitting governor, he has between now and May 29 to investigate and send him to jail, or at least send him through the courts to jail. So for me, it's not enough to come out and say you did this and you did that. And it goes the same way to Jonathan, saying, oh, Buhari, you crossed the line here. If you feel Buhari perpetrated injustice or allowed it to happen under his watch, investigate it.
I don't know if you've seen a documentary showing on some of Nigerian stations.
I have seen it.
Because that also inspired a lot of contribution from callers on the show yesterday.
Yes, I have seen it.
Would you also categorize that under the same
it's a personal attack.
Issue-based campaign?
I would say this. It's a personal attack. What you're trying to show us is the kind of person who's vying for that position. I am not interested in the kind of person alone often, sometimes, okay, I watch movies when I have the time, and there's a favorite saying of mine from Gladiator by Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix. When, just before Joaquin Phoenix became king, the old king was dying, and he offered the throne to that's Maximus, played by Russell Crowe, that you're my general, you've won all the wars. Take this position now before I die. Let me announce you as king so that you will, rule the people right, because I don't trust my son. My son cannot be a good king. So guess what? The man refuses and says he wants to go back to his farm, like he was a farmer. Had the war not come up, he would have remained a farmer. And then he steps out of the king's private chambers, and the king's daughter, the princess, the sister to the supposed income or king to, or inherent king, so to speak, tells him, one day you would wish you had done this little evil for a greater good. So sometimes the man's character may not exactly be sellable, but he might have a good plan, a good agenda for the people.
How do we shape this social media crazy world? Let's localize it to Nigeria, because you're talking about looking beyond even the character of a man. Looks as if what drives the social media followership crazy are controversial issues.
The truth is, controversies.
Are issues still sellable in this generation?
Controversies have always sold. Controversies have always been. News sells because it's negative sometimes. You hear of what? People do all kinds of good every day. People do all kinds of good every day. People save lives. I don't know how many times news media would go far to say, oh, there's this man who set up an orphanage and is taking care of 1,000 innocent or 1,000 homeless kids. That doesn't really sell. But when you hear that a school principal is sleeping with his students, the media will fly there. When you hear that, the governor of so place has been caught at the wrong place with some other woman who's not his wife, that would sell. These are controversies, and that's the same thing. It's essentially gossip, the way gossip will sell. And you wonder how people who have no journalistic training whatsoever rake in millions from selling gossip. It's not confirmed. Now, let's take all of those sentiments and put it into this climb that we are, particularly at this time of the elections. I am somebody people look up to in my small community. So I come out and I say, oh, vote for Mr. A because Mr. B has done this. They all go out and they start to say the things I have said. They don't bother whether I am right. They don't bother whether I have checked it. They don't even go to check it if I am telling the truth or not. Because a lot of times I've heard accusations and counter-accusations from, on both sides. Now, all I try to do with my friends is, this period is a desperate period. Let's not, in that desperation, make graver mistakes, in the sense that if you walked into your kitchen and your pot was on fire because of the oil, if you're not careful, you might think the bottle of water, or you might think the bottle of liquid is actually water, and then by the time you pour it on it, you realize it's kerosene.
Does all of this not boil down to the fact that, after all, eventually, we have the type of leadership we deserve as a nation?
I don't agree that a nation gets the kind of leadership that it deserves, in the sense that you wouldn't say Nigeria deserved the long, endless military rule from whenever it happened to whenever it stopped, because they didn't seek our consent. The Nigerian populace did not at any point come out to endorse any of the coup plotters, from what's his name, Cardinal Zogu's coup that was botched, to the Muritala Mohammed coup, then Buhari, then Babangida, then Abacha. I think it's only Gowon and Agui Ironsi, Gowon and Abubakar,
it's all right,
who became heads of state. without a coup.
Let me just quickly open the phone lines here for public participation. When you call in, please endeavor to turn down the volume of your TV set, and also bear in mind that there's a little delay between what is said in the studio and what you hear on your StarTimes device. So endeavor to turn it down, and let's keep the conversation live on telephone. If you can't reach us on telephone this morning, all you need to do is follow us on Twitter at Core Digest Live. We'll appreciate your comments there, and in case PSCN takes light, just get to your mobile device, download the Wow TV apps via your Play Store, your Google Play Store, whatever apps, Play Store or apps market you use on your device. Download the Wow TV and follow the instructions, and you'll be able to watch Core TV News live via that platform. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Core Digest.
Good morning.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Comrade Olariwaju Isho from Ilori.
Comrade, how are you today?
Fine, sir.
Let's go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, I want to say good morning to the analysts in the studio.
Chijoke.
Good morning.
Firstly, I want to make my comment on the aftermath of the past agreement between the major political parties in Nigeria, and it happened to be a pace setter. As you can see some states, they have also entered the same thing. I think they embrace a kind of path like that. And with out of Lagos of recent, I think it shows that regardless of the political affiliation, religious differences, we need to see Nigeria and our respective states as a common project. I commend them for that. But in areas in which I don't understand the way politicians are going, don't let it deceive you. Much relies on politicians to regulate the conduct of their followers. If politicians are able to orientate their respective followers, I think the efforts of the police will be concerted in the sense that the essence at which the supporters are fomenting trouble here and there, it's check the activities of their police force, which I believe there is need for them to work in collaboration, to not let them see their country or their state as something that doesn't belong to them again. So I want to appeal very strongly and passionately to them that before now Nigeria has been a system, and after the election, I wish Nigeria will remain a country of art.
That's all right. I believe you made a point there. Thank you very much, Comrade Olariwaju, for calling in from Ilori. Now, let's take this discussion a bit further. How do we ensure now that the social media, so to speak, will not be a platform that will inspire and instigate violence ahead of the February election?
Now, the social media, as I like his contribution, it's not enough to sign a peace pact, because I can sign it in public and I can also go behind and do all kinds of harm and evil. So,
just a minute. Let's take this call from Israel. Good morning, Israel.
Yes, good morning, Miss Ernie.
How are you today?
I'm
Terrific.
Fine, I'm fine. And you? I'm fine.
Terrific. Israel is calling from Lagos. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, Miss Ernie, Governor. Yes, Governor Fashola is a man I love so much. But I think on the issue of trying to bring Agbaje's tax issue to the fore, I think he has failed me there. He's somebody I love so much, I never expected he would go that route. And I believe that politicians should begin to take their job seriously. Up till now, he has never brought up this issue, not until now, because of the election issues, and you want to curry favor or get the sympathy of voters. It's very wrong. Then again, I look at Lagos state government, despite the fact that I'm an APC advocate. The removal of posters or the issues about posters with Lancer and all that, I think during an election period, it should have been relaxed. Give a level playing field. I don't care if Lagos is being dirty by posters. After election, they can go and clean up. They're all having all these hiccups and all of that. It doesn't pay. It doesn't help anybody at all. It puts my governor, Raji Fashola, in a very bad state because people are beginning to criticize my governor, and I'm not happy about it. I want him to up his game, please.
It's all right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Israel. I like that. Israel APC advocate calling from Lagos, just like I can call you Jonathan advocate.
Well,
you don't want me to go there?
No. You may. I have no apologies for my choices because I weigh them before I decide.
Okay, you were talking about how to make sure that the social media platforms wouldn't be used to instigate violence.
No, they will be used. Let's not delude ourselves about it. They will be used, and the people who will fuel it are the people who will not get involved. I think it was in '93. That was the last time we had any kind of, states consuming violence in Lagos during the June 12 elections, because I was here and I lived here. I saw it myself. But outside then, in '99 there was nothing. In 2003, 2007, in fact, on both days, it rained to such a degree that it was more than 70% of Lagos was flooded on both days. I remember those days. My house was flooded, for instance, in 2003, actually. It rained so horribly on the day of the presidential elections and the day of the governorship elections. So not much has really happened in terms of violence in Lagos. But it is Lagos and maybe Abuja, but particularly Lagos, that people have access, all kinds of access to the internet. And this is where people supposedly, have access to information as well. So we're the ones who go out there and push and say, hey, Buhari is this, Jonathan is that, Agbaje is up, Fashola is to the sides, whatever it is. We go out, but we don't know that these things we say here have far-reaching effects. There are people who live in places where maybe it's one person who has a smartphone and has access to the internet. So it is what you post here that he's able to feed to people back there. And we can't gauge their sentiments. Okay. Just the suspicion of PDP having rigged at the last election, as adjudged to be fair as it was, brought about the loss of lives of an untold number. Coppers who were serving their country. Innocent people who were in their homes got slaughtered for nothing, just because of such utterances.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to Cold Digest Thursday.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Giovanni.
Giovanni.
Yeah, I like this, your guest on the program today.
Giovanni, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Lagos.
All right, go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, so on the issue of you saying, I agree with most of what you say, most of what you said so far.
Thank you.
But when you say that a country, you don't believe that the country deserves the leaders that it votes in, can I also ask you if you believe that a woman is responsible for the outcome of her child? Because if at the end of the day, instill the kind of discipline and home training that will mold a man into a gentleman in future, if he becomes an arm robber, won't you hold her responsible? So if at the end of the day, as you rightly said, we Nigerians, we listen to gossip, we rely on gossip, we don't investigate before we push for what we feel is right, not knowing that we may even be on the wrong side, and we eventually vote in somebody who has a questionable character. And left for me, I believe in the saying, by their works ye shall know them. You know people by the way they talk and how they carry themselves, not necessarily by how materialistic or how wealthy they are. So if, as you rightly pointed out, Fashola, despite his numerous achievements and programs in Lagos, is capable of belittling himself or stooping low, not even realizing that by his own attack, he is also indicting himself of not doing his job by catching such a tax defaulter who defaulted 4 years in a row, only paid the last 2 years, and here you are trying to portray yourself as an angel. It would have been better if you did not even start the attack in the first place, so you don't expose that side of yourself. And so also you look at PDP and you look at what Fani Kayode is doing, and they seem like old men who don't reason. You are attacking somebody for an issue who he has escaped 1, 2, 3 times, like the Agbaje one. The Agbaje escaped the tax evasion 4 times. Buhari has escaped certificate issue 3 times. He has run as a candidate for various parties with the same school living certificate. And your constitution doesn't make a big deal about the school living thing. Even if you liver, he is qualified to run as the president. But why would somebody like Fani Kayode or Fayose come and portray Buhari in that light? I would have expected them to act with maturity and allow Buhari show us that he is immature. But no, these men who are the custodians of power presently are behaving like unruly children.
It's all right. I believe you made your point there, Giovanni. Thank you for contributing to the show this morning. You know, you also made mention about the quality of followership impacting eventually on the quality of leadership we have. For instance, I'm being pressured to report alleged claims by a bishop in Nigeria that the gate of hell, that whilst he was praying, he said that he will release or open the gate of hell to anyone who votes against the incumbent president. And the question has been, where is the proof? This is a church that has a media channel, that has a media platform. Show me the video. Why is it that we have such a tremendous followership on social media, but then they don't really question or request for proofs before they go haywire on controversies?
Please permit me to just answer him real briefly on something. When he said the outcome of a child, that will the mother be blamed for it? And that's relating to us having the kind of leadership we deserve. No. A mother can't be blamed for the outcome of her child in that regard. And first things first, it is not the mother's responsibility alone to raise the child. It's the family and then the society at large, because we're a communal society in Africa. We don't stand alone. So that's on that part. Regarding the as I said, the military men didn't seek public opinion before they did what they did. But whether we like it or not, at those times they were our leaders. When people go out there, and rigging doesn't exactly happen in Lagos, because more than half of the people in Lagos are aware. Where this rigging would go on will be the interiors, where 500 naira is a very big deal. Where people, can burn down a village because one man owes another person 5,000 naira. So they go to these places, and that's where they pump money into and, mislead the populace there by the use of money. So if Lagos, say, has 20 million people, arguably, Kano, Port Harcourt, these are 3 very, populated places. But the bulk of Nigeria's population live outside of these places, and that's where the rigging goes on. So you might try all you may in Lagos to not rig, but when they go to all other places and rig, there's nothing you can do here. So we in Lagos probably want ABC, but those who want DEF go to the other places and affect those results. So you can't say that what we get is what we deserve.
I see.
What we get is the outcome of, some other people's actions countering what we want. So the leadership we have may not necessarily be what we deserve. Because what we deserve, I'm sure, is a lot better than this.
It's all right. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Are you there?
I'm here. Okay, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Zebedee from Aba.
Zebedee from Aba. Can you turn down the volume of your TV set for me?
It's down.
All right, go ahead now with your contribution, Zebedee.
Trying to go through you that I couldn't get, but I'm going to get through now.
All right. You're welcome.
Okay, being on the issue on yesterday and today on political violence and the way forward of the election 2015.
Okay.
We look at what has started before and his entourage of his militants, we found out that the meeting was held at State House, Venezuela. So if you that he should be arrested, in other words, the governor also is aware of it. And based on the youth, if the youth can be able to stay within themselves that this country is ours, they should try everything possible. They should try everything possible. Stop listening to what these politicians that are too inquisitive or too, they are trying everything to get into power. If you look at all of them, both APC, both the president himself, our president is a very mannered man, but they have been doing his campaign. I found as the way he stayed on his campaign ground. He didn't know it to be like that. So the issue now keep hammering behind the way they talk to the people because they have followers. And all those followers have passion. And it is because they love them. That is why they are beating up.
I'm afraid we'll lose that, Zebedee. You might have to call us back. Quite a very poor network we have there. Keep trying. Where you calling? Turn down the volume of your TV set so we can have a crystal clear communication. Now let's move on with this ICT thing. Of course, on the front page of the paper this morning, the Punch, war threat, Danjuma calls for Dokubo Tompolo's arrest, after making such. But, you also want to think ahead and think of what power, what might, what influence do these stakeholders have on these naive young Nigerians to be able to use them for violent purposes?
We have a very strong group. I'll give you an example. Dokubo Tompolo, Ateke Tom. These people didn't fall out of the skies. These guys were supposed warlords during the Mend era. That's the movement for the emancipation of the Niger Delta. These guys were strong people because they had their own following. They essentially had their own armies.
Okay.
So even if the respect for them was not earned, it was demanded. It was not commanded. It was demanded. It was, how do I say it? Foisted on the people around them. Because if I find somebody who's in control of, say, 10,000 guns and 10,000 people and a steady supply of bullets, people that the government had to come and settle with because we're losing naval personnel almost on an hourly basis. I have to, maybe not the healthy kind of respect, but I have to respect myself enough to avoid them. So if one of them comes and knocks on my door and says, if you don't vote Jonathan, if he loses, you're in trouble. That's, trust me, a very huge influence. Negative, albeit, but it is a big influence.
Does that not indict the incumbent government for doing absolutely nothing about this military might they are wielding that, of course, that you're testifying to now?
Truth is, I expect the present government to say, hey, young men, we have a deal, an amnesty deal. We don't want this country to degenerate. You need to respect the choices of everyone. When John McCain lost to Obama, I watched their entire progress. I saw all the attacks during the debates from McCain to Obama. When McCain lost, the only respect I can attribute to him was his comment. America has spoken. America has decided on who they want. So he offers his handshake to Obama. Not a physical one, but I mean, the handshake of a loser to the victor. But the point is, prior to that time, it was brutal. You need to learn to teach people to understand respect. Respect is not good morning. It's the fact that I am voting for Mr. A, you're voting for Mr. B. Okay. But at the end of the day, we are Nigerians. So whether you win and I lose or I win and you lose, the people we are voting for should be able to say, guys, please let everybody be. Do not threaten anyone.
Hello?
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest.
Okay, my brother, I'm Tochiku calling from Anambra.
So, Chiku, how are you today?
I'm very fine, my brother.
How's Anambra?
Fine, Anambra is cool.
Let's go ahead with your contribution.
Okay. Very quickly, I want to emphasize that
Tochiku, hold on.
over the years has played a very critical role
Okay, go ahead.
in the development of our democracy. And again, without missing words, you will discover that anytime we come out to mount one Nigeria and try to hide some of these issues, when you come to social media, discover that indeed Nigeria is not one. Because it is at the social media you see issues that are influenced by tribal sentiment, religious sentiment, and what have you. And you have reasons to believe that Nigeria is not one. Because you will see the different categories of Nigeria with their shallow opinion, sometimes myopic, and you will cry for Nigeria. Then you now begin to ask yourself questions. Are we indeed one? Or is it not just because oil is binding everyone? And so, my brother, the social media needs to focus more attention and review the activities in social media and find the path for Nigeria. That is on one part. Then in terms of violence, I think that our political class that is supposed to, it is presumed that they're educated. I think they need more of education. In a situation whereby somebody with a particular post, he has not yet won, and he has started answering Your Excellency. You see, people call him Your Excellency. You see, and these things have a way of affecting the psyche. So the person will never accept defeat when he or she loses. The idea that he is always right in his conviction that he will win the election. Whereas it's not true. And some of these fans, their success is somehow, directly or indirectly, attached to the success of these candidates. Because when they win, they will have pocket money, they will get jobs, they will get those things. So they try to cry more than they believe when the candidate loses. They engage in violence and other social vices. So my advice is, these people need education, the political class, and as well as the supporters. That is my contribution to this.
Thank you very much, Tochiku. Tochiku, can I call you a PDP, what's that word that guy used the other time?
Advocate.
Advocate as well.
PDP advocate. Good governance.
Good governance advocate.
I love that.
I love that. All right, regards to your family. Thank you for your contribution. Well, how far do you think we are from the America scenario you just painted? And because, especially in Nigeria, where almost every election ends up in court, the 2011 election ended with an amazing, very unfortunate violence that was responsible for the death of about 800 people. How do we, also develop into that kind of situation whereby losers can easily admit their defeat?
The truth is, for us to get there, the people who want to represent us in these various political offices need to be more responsible.
Okay.
In their utterances, in their conduct, they need to be more responsible. I was going to be very happy when Fayemi was going to quietly bow out after he lost to Fayemi.
What happened to your happiness?
Oh, of course you know what happened to my happiness. We're still in the middle of it today. You get? I was very sad because for once I was going to be happy that somebody from an opposition was going to say, congratulations, young man. You beat me to it. I'm going home. But here we are still bickering and then one person wielding excessive power. I do not understand what goes on in the minds of these people. It's funny, and like you pointed out, somebody's addressing you as Your Excellency. As tiny as that description is, I hope you know it's treasonable.
There's a scriptural reference for it.
No, I want to point it out.
Calling those things which are not as if they were. Might just be a faithful way of believing.
I have another way to say it, which is not from the scriptures. My friend says, fake it until you make it. But this is the point. We are not talking about utopic or, virtual things. We're talking about reality. if I came out tomorrow and I addressed myself as Your Excellency, or the executive governor of whatever, or the president of whatever, I don't think I would, finish that sentence before somebody bundles me up. So having to address somebody who's not even gone to the polls as Your Excellency is improper. And it is, if you addressing me, maybe you're trying to praise me or you're trying to give me hope or assurance that I'm going to get it. It's my job to also let you know that, hey, that's treason. Why did Abiola get locked up? The polls, of course we knew what was going on, but he came out and declared himself president. And he got locked up for treason. Do you understand it?
I see.
Got locked up for treason.
We have to round
And
up.
that's the same thing with Your Excellency.
I see. We have to round up this segment now. What words would you leave with the teeming, social media crazy young Nigerian population and the role they have to play in ensuring a violent-free election?
All I have to say is, and I have always said to my friends, and especially to those on the social media who go and rant on the social media, please remember that at the end of this conversation, one of my very good friends, whom we've been friends for 23 years, insulted me yesterday on Facebook. My good friend. And I ended the conversation. I said, you've personalized this conversation. I am going to ignore what I have perceived to be insults. But at the end of the day, you need to know that we are both Nigerians. Because I support Mr. A, you support Mr. B. We go at each other's necks. And recently, Jonathan's wedding, daughter's wedding, were these guys not all there? They were there hugging and embracing each other. So why should you and I kill ourselves? As they say in politics, there are no permanent friends or enemies, just interests. And the interests, those interests are per time. But you and I are friends. You and I are neighbors. You and I are colleagues. So why should we boil ourselves to the point of hatred? We can disagree respectfully. And at the end of the day, whoever wins, you offer the handshake of peace to the next person. When, what's the name? Jonathan won the last time. Those who wanted Buhari, close friends of mine said, Shebiuna don't win. Your man had better perform. Do you understand it? That's how I think we should go about
That's all right.
it.
Chijioke is an ICT consultant, a public affairs analyst, joining us today on Call Digest. Thank you very much for coming. And you know what you said right now reminds me of what transpired over the weekend. I was with a couple of friends and families, called Familio, and it was amazing how we were divided over this political thing. But of course, we didn't end up slapping each other because we still accorded that mutual respect. We're family. Yeah. We're family. So we're all family. North, South, East, West, come on. Federal elections will come and go. We'll always remain, and that should be jamming on our mind. We'll take a short break now, and I'll be back with another guest analyst. Stick around, don't go away.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.